Math is actually really interesting. I expect this to be not well received as it is an actual unpopular opinion, but math is actually extremely satisfying to do and learn about. In a world full of chaos, where everything you do affects your life and everything can change in a moment's notice, such as a car crash, cancer, job raise, job loss, kicked in the balls by random stranger, 1 plus 1 will always equal 2, 45 degrees will always be half of 90, which will be half of 180, which will then be half of 360, making it a full circle, which is the center of the Fibonacci sequence, which can be found in so many everyday occurrences it is absolutely ridiculous. In a world of chaos, math is supreme, calculations will never change. Sure, maybe the US education system absolutely fucks over everyone's perception of math by making it insufferable. But what the teachers told us countless times is true, math is in everyday life, and you may be using y equals mx plus b without even knowing it one day. Maybe forcing us to learn advanced mathematics is what makes our perception of it so twisted, as does handing out sheets with 50 algebraic equations to solve at the start of class as a warm-up for a new lesson when you just covered the subject of the 50 you're solving the day before. Math is extremely exciting. Solving a complicated geometric problem and being able to confidently circle the right answer on a test is the absolute best feeling. In the words of Jamie Escalante of Stand and Deliver, math is the great equalizer. Edit: wow, my first post to surpass 10 upvotes. Thank you all for the upvotes and awards. I thought this said meth lol. Math is interesting, and way too many people associate it simply with basic arithmetic. It's interesting when the person teaching knows how to teach it. And they don't teach too much at once. And textbooks aren't involved. It's low-key fun when you know what we're doing. Edit: I normally don't do this, but y'all gave me enough karma to post on r/dank memes, so thanks a lot and stay spooky. I love math, but I hate that I can't make mistakes without failing a class. I have to spend such a long portion of my day dedicated to math in order to keep a decent grade. I would love to spend that time doing other things. I don't solely love math. I mean, yes, math is cool when it works out, but learning it is frustrating and not really fun to me. The stuff you can do with it is also interesting, but math as a complete thing isn't fun for me. The most interesting aspect of math, is how it is reality. I think too many people think of math as just a means to solving simple equations, when it's so much more. Math is the definition of our universe. Edit: as a few Redditors made clear, math is less the definition of the universe, and more the language used to define it. Either way, it's still cool. I love math too, but let me ask you, are you high? Hell yeah, it is. The maths behind fiber optics and how its internal reflection worked was very interesting. I struggled with math all my life, and hated the subject because I feared it. After a point it became something to run from in school and university, but somehow I managed to find myself in a graduate program in economics where math reigns supreme. Today I'm no longer afraid, and in fact a little in love with everything. People hate math not because it's difficult and requires you to apply your brain, but because at some point when they needed it the most, there wasn't a good enough teacher to encourage them to try their best. In an academic career spanning nearly 2 decades, there are 2 teachers only, who for very brief periods of time taught me with enthusiasm and encouragement. Not to say that everybody needs to do/know math, but what people forget is that it develops critical thinking, and that is a real-life skill everybody needs regardless of their profession. Math is interesting when you're not forced to do it. I don't agree with you, so I'll upvote you. I failed algebra 3 times, so I don't know about it being interesting, but an upvote for being unpopular. If taught well, maths can be extremely fun. I used to tutor calculus and statistics, and would have minored in the latter if I'd had the time and resources. Math is amazing. I used to tell people statistics was the closet we'll ever get to a true crystal ball. Good statistics can help us, if not predict, at least accurately guess the future. I think the reason so many people hate math is that they've never had a good teacher who's shown them its practicality. I absolutely sucked at math as a kid. Just hated the subject. I had one teacher who saw I loved music. He taught me math via music and guitar. I ended up passing IB calculus in high school. I couldn't pass algebra before I met him. He just made it click. I have a sleeve full of music and math now. Specifically the golden ratio and equation. Now, can anyone offer some tips on actually learning, retaining, and applying more advanced mathematics? This is the roadblock that kept me out of engineering school. Bad teachers ruin math, or at least that was my experience with math. Some were better than others at teaching mathematics. I have failed miserably and passed courses with 100% plus grades, and make or break for me was simply the way the class and math was taught. We all learn differently, so mileage varies, I guess. Otherwise math is pretty cool. I've learned up to Calc 2 in university, which was mostly integrals, and through high school and college all of my teachers did an astronomically terrible job at applying mathematics to interesting concepts or real life, making it nearly unbearable to learn. Math is cool though. It applies to pretty much everything in the universe, so if you are good at it and understand math, you can learn so much and theorize basically anything to try and prove it as a concept. I agree. But I also do math for a living, specifically statistics, more specifically data privacy, which is just one giant math problem that helps governments and businesses make informed decisions while maintaining anonymity within the data set. Deciding to do math for a living was one of the best decisions of my life. I'm always learning something new, and that's extremely satisfying. I disagree, but definitely unpopular, so upvote. I'm not bad at math, it just doesn't interest me. When I was in high school and my first year of college, I hated math with a passion. I mean shit, I had to retake Algebra 2 almost 4 times in my life, twice in high school and twice in college. I had to take it twice in college because I took a 4-year break, and then suddenly it clicked. Now I love it. It's like you said, in a world of chaos, math is a constant. There is something that is almost autistically comforting to me about how constant math is. I love that there are patterns, I love that you can see math in nature, I love that we can use just numbers on a paper to understand the universe, I love that with just a few formulas, numbers, and pure observation people could calculate the circumference of the Earth in ancient times. Statistics is even more fun, BTW. Yeah. I was once curious why almost all famous mathematicians were also philosophers, and damn, I learned that everything around you, whether you see it or not, can be viewed as numbers and symbols. Really changed my perspective on things. Like anything, it's only interesting if you're interested. People hate math because they were forced to do it for 18 years. Euler's equation is just beautiful. 5 of the most intriguing numbers all in one elegant equation. The natural exponent, 1, 0, the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter, and a freaking number that is imaginary. E caret, I pi, \+1 equals 0. Edit, corrected definition of I to imaginary.